More than 2,000 years ago, one philosopher told a story so convincing that people are still searching for the truth behind it today. His name was Plato, and the story he told was about a lost civilization, so advanced, so wealthy, and so powerful that the gods themselves destroyed it in a single day and night. He called it Atlantis. Let's start where the legend actually begins, because it's not where most people think. Atlantis wasn't born from ancient myth passed down through generations. It first appears in two of Plato's writings, called Timaeus and Critias, written around 360 BC. According to Plato, the story came from Egyptian priests, who told it to the Greek statesman Solon nearly 200 years earlier. Plato described Atlantis as an island civilization located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, the ancient name for the Strait of Gibraltar, meaning somewhere out in the Atlantic Ocean. And the details he gave were remarkably specific. Atlantis was said to be ruled by descendants of the sea god Poseidon, organized into concentric rings of water and land, with a massive circular city at its center. Plato described walls covered in precious metals, orichalcum, a mysterious metal said to gleam like fire, advanced canals for trade and irrigation, and a military so powerful it conquered parts of Europe and Africa. Then, according to the story, Atlantis grew arrogant and morally corrupt. And in a single catastrophic day and night, earthquakes and floods swallowed the entire island beneath the sea. For centuries, most scholars treated this as exactly what Plato likely intended, a philosophical parable about hubris and the fall of powerful civilizations, not a literal historical record. But that hasn't stopped explorers, archaeologists, and treasure hunters from taking the story seriously and searching for a real location for over 2,000 years. So where have people actually looked? One of the most credible modern theories points to the island of Santorini in the Aegean Sea. Around 1600 BC, Santorini was home to the Minoan civilization, one of the most advanced Bronze Age societies in the ancient world. And then, catastrophe struck. A massive volcanic eruption, one of the largest in human history, tore the island apart, sending pyroclastic flows and tsunamis across the region. Archaeological excavations at the nearby site of Akrotiri have uncovered an entire Minoan city, preserved almost perfectly under volcanic ash, complete with multi-story buildings, indoor plumbing, and detailed wall paintings, a level of sophistication that surprised even experienced archaeologists. Many historians now believe this real, documented disaster may have inspired the destruction myth Plato described more than 1,000 years later. Other researchers have looked even further afield. In the early 2000s, satellite imagery revealed unusual rectangular and circular formations beneath the waters near Cadiz, Spain, close to where Plato placed Atlantis geographically. A team led by researcher Richard Freund proposed these could be the remains of a lost city, matching Plato's description of concentric rings, destroyed by a tsunami. Skeptics, however, point out that similar geological formations occur naturally in tidal and sediment zones, and no confirmed man-made structures have ever been physically recovered from the site. And the search hasn't stopped there. Over the decades, researchers have proposed dozens of possible locations, from Cyprus and Malta to Sardinia to the Caribbean and even Antarctica. Each theory points to genuine geological or archaeological anomalies. None have produced conclusive physical proof. Here's what makes Atlantis different from many other ancient mysteries, though. Unlike Loch Ness or the Great Pyramid, Atlantis has never been proven to have existed as a physical place at all. Everything we know comes from a single ancient source, Plato himself, and no other ancient Greek or Egyptian text independently confirms the story. Some historians argue this makes the search itself somewhat pointless, since Plato may have simply invented the entire civilization to make a philosophical point about pride and destruction. Others argue the opposite, that oral histories of real catastrophic events, like the Thera eruption or the broader Bronze Age collapse around 1200 BC, when multiple advanced Mediterranean civilizations mysteriously fell within decades of each other, may have blended together over centuries into a single symbolic legend. And that brings us to today. Modern sonar mapping, satellite imaging, and underwater archaeology continue to scan the ocean floor across the Mediterranean and Atlantic in search of anomalies. Documentaries, books, and expeditions are still funded every single year chasing this exact story. Not because anyone has found definitive proof, but because the possibility alone has captivated the world for over 2,000 years. So, is Atlantis a real sunken civilization waiting to be discovered? A distorted memory of a real Bronze Age disaster? Or simply the most successful piece of philosophical fiction ever written? 2,000 years later, we still don't know for certain. And maybe that's exactly why the story has survived this long.